Today, we're diving into something massive that's happening right under our noses. It's a race, a global race, fueled by trillions of dollars to build the ultimate technology, artificial superintelligence. And really, this is a story about incredible wealth, global power, and what it even means to be human anymore. And it all boils down to one single question.
And that question, it's the whole ball game. This isn't just some late-night philosophical debate anymore. It's the engine driving the largest mobilization of capital in economic history. And it's happening right now.
And when I say the largest, I'm not kidding. Just look at that number. Over $2 trillion. Let that sink in for a second. That's more than the entire GDP of a country like Canada. And that's just the commitment from the big US tech companies alone, all gunning for one thing: achieving artificial general intelligence, or AGI, and whatever comes next.
Okay, so let's follow the money, because this has gone way beyond a simple research project. This is a full-blown economic and geopolitical arms race, and the sheer scale of the money being thrown around is just staggering. First up, you've got Meta. They've pledged a jaw-dropping $600 billion by 2030. And get this, part of that money is for a superintelligence data center so enormous, its planned footprint is going to be bigger than the island of Manhattan. Just try to picture that. And of course, Apple isn't just sitting on the sidelines. They're matching that number. Another $600 billion, all aimed at a very specific goal: to bake AGI right into every single device they make. Then you have something called Project Stargate. Sounds like something out of a sci-fi movie, right? Well, it's a real joint venture, with heavy hitters like OpenAI and Oracle pooling $500 billion to build what they're calling, and I quote, the largest computer of all time. So this really breaks down how the global competition is shaping up. You have three totally different strategies. In the US, it's what you might call hypercapitalism. It's driven by big tech and their trillions. China, on the other hand, is going the central planning route, very state-controlled. And then there's Europe, which is really focusing on regulation and trying to build so-called ethical AI. But as you can see, every one of these paths is loaded with its own major problems, from geopolitical risks in the States to a serious lack of capital in the EU. But you know, all this money, all this strategy, it all hinges on one single physical resource. It's not money, and it's not even data. It's the silicon chips that make everything run. In this new world we're building, chips are, without a doubt, the new oil. All right, so we've seen the economic race. Now let's look at the technological endgame. Because this isn't just about making computers a little bit faster. The roadmap here is about creating what some people are seriously calling digital gods. And this isn't some far-off 50-year science fiction plan. The timeline that the tech optimists are projecting is, well, it's breathtakingly aggressive. They think we'll have expert-level AI labs emerging in just the next few years. They're predicting we'll crack true artificial general intelligence by 2030. And then, almost right away, the dawn of artificial superintelligence, ASI, an intellect that would blow past our own in literally every single domain. So, why the mad dash? What's the payoff for all this risk? Well, the promises that are fueling these trillions are, frankly, world-altering. We're talking about a post-scarcity world where nanofactories can basically build anything you want on demand. AI-driven medical miracles that could stop aging, maybe even achieve biological immortality. The potential to directly upgrade our own bodies through cyborgization. It's a vision of explosive, exponential innovation across the board. And this quote from Tim Cook just nails the ambition perfectly. The vision isn't about making a slightly better phone. It's about putting a personal supercomputer, powered by a superintelligence, in everyone's pocket. It's about democratizing genius itself. Okay, that all sounds pretty incredible, right? A utopia just around the corner. But behind this trillion-dollar dream, there's a much darker side. A growing number of critics are screaming about fundamental limits and catastrophic risks that, honestly, we can't afford to ignore. Which leads us to the big, obvious question. With all this money, all this brainpower, is this superintelligent future actually a sure thing? Well, the answer is a whole lot messier than the optimists want you to believe. AI critic Gary Marcus puts it pretty bluntly. He's warning that this whole thing could end up being a trillion-dollar grave, just a colossal waste of money based on speculative hype, with no clear path from the AI we have today to the real general intelligence they're promising.
And there are some very real, very physical barriers they're slamming into. You could call them invisible walls. First, there's energy. The power demand is just exploding. A future AGI might need the same amount of power as an entire city. Second, data. We're actually literally running out of quality human-generated text and images to train these things on. And third, and this is the one that keeps people up at night, is the alignment problem. How do you program a superintelligence with a goal like make humans happy without it deciding the most efficient way to do that is to hook us all up to dopamine drips for the rest of eternity? How do we make sure its goals don't veer off in some catastrophic direction?
And look, even if they solve all the technical hurdles, the risks to society are massive. We could be staring down the barrel of mass unemployment as AI takes over cognitive jobs, the rise of digital dictatorships that use AI for total surveillance, and maybe even a new global class system, the AI elite on top and pretty much everyone else at the bottom. So, what do you get when you smash the utopian promises and the dystopian risks together? You get a third path. Not a perfect future, not a failed one, but a future that is so fundamentally transformed that the very definition of what it means to be human starts to fall apart. And this leads us to this kind of startling new concept, Homo digitalis. We're not just talking about a human using cool gadgets anymore. This is a new form of human being, one that is no longer purely biological, but is directly physically fused with artificial intelligence. And this is where all those trillions of dollars could eventually lead us, to the ultimate form of inequality. Imagine, on one side, you have Homo digitalis, fully integrated with AI through brain-computer interfaces, genetically enhanced, maybe even functionally immortal. And on the other side, the biohuman, who sticks with their classic biological form, but now risk becoming totally socially and economically obsolete. We're talking about a potential evolutionary split in our own species. And that brings us right back around to one final, really haunting question. When the lines between our own biology and machine intelligence start to blur, and maybe even disappear completely, who are we anymore? Or what do we become? The race is definitely on, but nobody really knows where the finish line is.